Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. Today I'm going to be talking about how to become content with the life that you're living now in your 20s. So how can you stop feeling lost? How can you get out of a rut? How can you get to a place where you just feel happy with where you're at in your 20s? I've struggled with this so much myself because I feel that in our 20s, we don't have much life experience. We don't have a lot of confidence because we haven't experienced a lot of making mistakes. We haven't experienced honing a skill for a long period of time, aside from basic life skills that you learn as you grow up. But I've felt this so much for the past, I don't know, since I was 18. I've felt this for the past few years, and I'm finally starting to feel that I am content with where I'm at. And today I'm going to share all the things that I have done to get to this point, to feel this way in everyday life. And yeah, let's get into it. So I have my notes right here so I don't forget any points. So one of the first things I want to say is, one of the first points is taking stock of everything that you consume, whether it is food, whether it is TV, whether it is social media, the accounts that you follow, whether it is the people you surround yourself with, whether it is the environment that you're in. It all impacts how you view yourself. It impacts the beliefs that you have about the world. It impacts everything in your life, and it impacts whether you will feel happy or content in your life or not. Because all of these things, if you're getting mixed messages from different people, and this is something that I've experienced, is when I'm getting, especially on TikTok, when I'm getting so many mixed messages. At the time, I would get in the messages and I'm like, oh, well, this person thinks this person thinks that. And it's like, you don't really know, what do you think? But I think it's really important to have different perspectives so you can have your own opinion and choose what works for you. But at the same time, you don't want to listen to every single thing that exists, because maybe it doesn't align with your values. Maybe it doesn't align with the life that you want to have. So be very, very meticulous with who you allow into your life, what kind of content you are looking at, what kind of TV shows are you watching, what kind of music are you listening to, what are the words that are being used. Does this ultimately contribute to a life that you want to live in the future, a life that you want to create now? Does this contribute to that person that you want to become or be now? Does anything that you're consuming contribute to that? That is the ultimate question. And my next point is, I didn't even mention this part, is the reason you want to be selective with the people that you're looking at is because there are people, you're in a specific season right now in your 20s where you're exploring different hobbies, you're exploring different opportunities, you're exploring yourself, you're getting to know yourself, you're getting to learn the world, and you're getting to learn so many things. And when you are looking at someone on social media, let's say, that is in a different season of life, that maybe they've made all the mistakes, they've had the time to go through their life, figure out what works for them, what they prefer, let's say what kind of workouts work for them, what type of investment style works for them, any of that. When you literally look at someone who is decades ahead of you, you're most likely going to feel discouraged. I think it's really important to look at people that are already ahead of us by a little bit in the goals that we want to accomplish. But sometimes it can be very, discouraging. I'll just use discouraging. It can be very discouraging when you're looking at someone who's on a different path and you're comparing yourself to them. And that's one of the other points. and they're in a different season. They're decades ahead of you. They're doing something that maybe you don't even want to pursue, but you're like, oh my God, they're doing this really amazing thing and they're getting all this recognition for it. And like, look what I'm doing. Like, this is not even enough. Look, I'm not even anywhere close to that. Or even comparing yourself to someone at your age who's pursuing a certain thing, who's on a certain path and is in a different season of life. And you're comparing yourself thinking, wow, like they're the same age as me and they're so far ahead than me. When you do that, you're really just putting kind of a block for yourself to not be able to move forward. And I feel like, I don't even know if I feel like I know that this is on purpose, because sometimes we want to block ourselves because we don't even know whether we can handle whatever we're asking for. We don't even know whether we can handle, we haven't done the work, we haven't taken the action that takes us towards what we're asking for. And so when you see someone and you compare yourself to them, ask yourself, would I even be able to handle this? Is my rubber band big enough to be able to hold whatever this person is accomplishing? Because this person was able to accomplish that one thing because they worked and took small steps towards it. And then ask yourself another question is, do I even want to become good at that thing that the other person is good at? Is it just because I'm seeing the recognition they're getting and how well established and successful they are that I want that one thing that they have? Or do I actually want this and I want to pursue it, and maybe the reason I feel like not happy, not content with where I'm at is because I'm not taking action towards what I want to do, and I'm not putting in the work. Because a lot of the time when we feel discontent, it's because we are not taking action towards what we want to do. And if you don't know what you want to do, I feel like in this society, I could literally make a whole other video about this, because my whole life I've kept thinking like, oh my gosh, like what is my purpose? What is the thing that I was brought on this earth to do? And I just did not have an answer. I just kept looking and I didn't have an answer. And I would look around me and I would see people who, let's say they're like musicians and they found their calling, or they are doing, I don't know, like a specific job that they've excelled at, they've given their all to. And I've just never felt that passionate about anything, honestly, except for inner work. I love learning about inner work. I love reading all the books and I love sharing them with you here. But I honestly did not even change my perspective on this until I watched the movie Soul on Disney. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but seeing that movie, there is a part in the movie where the guy he's a musician, and I don't want to spoil this for anybody who hasn't seen it. Let me see. I'm not good at not doing spoilers, but I'll try my best. But there is a point where the guy wants, like the entire movie, the guy is like living up to this big thing and wanting to have this one performance that is going to change his life, and he wants to be this famous musician. And by the end of the movie, he realizes that it's not really about, your life is not just about this one purpose or this one thing that you pursue, because that could literally just rob you of living your daily life. It is actually about taking the moment to moment action and just being in the moment and enjoying life. That is the purpose. I personally believe that we're all souls who reincarnated into here because we wanted to have this 3D experience on Earth. And so if I reincarnated to just come here and live, wouldn't that be my purpose? Wouldn't it just be to come here, explore what life has to offer without any like long-term plans that I'm like, oh, like I'm going to go to school and I'm going to have this specific job and I'm going to work this job for 40 years and this is my life path. That sounds so boring. And it sounds, to me at least, it sounds so boring just because I want to explore different avenues. I want to see I want to explore everything that life has to offer. and I want to learn different skill sets. So I don't want to just stay in one job doing the same thing over and over and over again. That does not align with me. And so for me, watching that movie and seeing that I didn't just come here for this one purpose of honing one specific skill, I came here to explore life, to make mistakes, to create relationships with people, and to just live. That's it. That is my sole purpose. And you do that every day. Let's say a desire comes up for something that you want to do. You take action towards that step by step, little by little. It's 11:11. But like, you take the small steps really make a huge difference. Like, a book that really helped me understand this is The Compound Effect. It talks about how taking small actions, and even Atomic Habits too, just taking small actions every day that lead you to the life that you just look back on, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I was doing this in the moment. I didn't even realize this is what it was going to turn into. When you just plan your entire life ahead, I mean, you don't even know what's going to happen. The future is not even real. If you can see the future and grab it with your hand physically, I would like a lesson from you. Like, the future does not exist. So everything that when you plan something ahead into the future and you're not even living in the moment, taking action towards it, that becomes overwhelming. And at that point, you're not really even living your life. You're not living your purpose, because the purpose is to live your life. So you can have visions and desires and have an idea of what you want your life to look like, but if you stress so much about what you want it to look like that you plan every single detail of it, and you are thinking, I have to stick to this one thing and follow it through all the way and be super rigid about it, you're not going to enjoy your life. So I would suggest, I don't even know what point I started with. I feel like I went to all the different points that I wrote down now, but it's okay. But like, just realize that you're meant to live your life moment to moment, and that is where you can actually make the biggest difference in your life. When I started my jewelry business, it's called El Sah Jewelry. If you want to check it out, it literally I've literally tried to start businesses in the past, and they just never worked out for me because I always made this big plan of what it was going to be, and it always overwhelmed me, and all the details and the masculine of, like, you would look up YouTube videos of like, how do I get my LLC? How do I do this and that? And you just get so stuck in doing, and you get so stuck in figuring out the details, the hows, that you don't actually end up enjoying the process, and you end up quitting. At least for me, I ended up quitting because I felt so overwhelmed. I was like, I don't know how to do this. How can I take this business from here to here? Like, how can I even bring it to life when I'm already overwhelmed? I couldn't. And so when I started my jewelry business, I did not feel that way at all. I took it one step at a time, one day at a time, and I enjoyed the process. Like, just take the time to enjoy what you are building. I loved looking at manufacturers for pieces. I enjoyed making a Pinterest board for all the style that I wanted. I just took it one step at a time, one small action at a time. And I've had to learn product photography. I've had to learn posting on social media, creating posts. I've had to learn so many things, but if I had literally thought about all of that at the same time, I would have been so overwhelmed, and I would have just stopped before I started. And so what I want to share with you is that it's okay to take small steps and to just be in the moment, figure out, get clarity on what it is you want to pursue. Is there a skill you want to have? Is there something that you've always wanted to learn, like a new language, a hobby? For me, I have literally loved pottery since high school. I took it in high school and I've loved it. And ever since I left high school, I've always said, I really want to do pottery. I want to get back into it. That was the one thing that I've just loved. Didn't even have a lot of hobbies, but that was the one thing that it stuck with me. And so before I even stressed about finding places to do pottery in, I just put it on my vision board, and I literally started even putting pieces that I would make when I started doing pottery. I started just taking small steps, and I'm like, oh, well, if I were taking the class and I was doing pottery, what would I be even making? And I just started looking on Pinterest, getting inspired, feeling excited, like just literally, Pinterest has changed my life. Just go on Pinterest and create a vision board of the life that what kind of things excite you. Don't think long term of like, oh my gosh, what is my life purpose? What is the one job I'm here to do? How am I supposed to contribute to society? No, just go on there. What are some things that have been interesting to you? Don't compare yourself to other people or what interests other people. Don't compare yourself to like what society expects of you or how much money you should be making. I think financial security is really, really important, but don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't get too ahead of yourself. You're going to stop before you even start. So just go out there, create a Pinterest board, literally look up what excites you, put it on your Pinterest board. I have travel destinations on my Pinterest board. I have hobbies, dancing, pottery. I have things I want to learn more about. I have skills I want to hone. Like there's so many things you can just add. The kind of lifestyle you want to have. How do you want to make money? What is your preferred way of making money? Just introduce different things into your perspective and into your life. And don't worry so much about how they're going to come. Allow God, the universe, to come through and be able to give this to you somehow. You don't need to figure out the how yet. Just put it out there. And it takes a lot of courage to do this because a lot of the time we stop ourselves from even writing these things down or putting them in front of us because we're like, oh, we can't do that. How is that even going to happen right now? I don't even have the money for this and that. Like there's so many things that come up with the how that you don't even allow yourself to dream big. But allow yourself to dream big, put it on there, and don't worry about the how. Don't worry about the how yet. What I do in my daily life is literally asking myself what would feel good to do right now. What would feel good to do in this moment? And I just take action towards that. And sometimes it doesn't feel that I'm taking a huge action. It obviously, if you're taking actions every day towards your dream life and towards feeling happy and content with what you're building, it doesn't feel like this big grand thing. Like that is, it's not how that works. I always used to think that it's like, one day you wake up, it's like when you see people on social media and they pop up out of nowhere and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so successful and they did it overnight. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. And sometimes it's easy to think that, and I feel like it's a limiting belief to think that, because then we're like, oh my gosh, well, they did this overnight and they literally just like, they're so successful, they're so lucky, they were born to be like this and it's so easy for them. But that doesn't work for me. But you're just blocking yourself from taking one small action every day. That is what they did. That is literally what they did. The people that you're looking up to, they just took one small action and kept going towards their goal. And I'm reading this book now. I actually just finished it today. Oh my God, it was so good. The Courage to Be Disliked. I'll add it into, I don't think it's in the description box yet, but I'll add that in there. Oh my God, I've learned so much from this book. It just talks about how you can focus on your life, taking action in your life, becoming content in your own life, and not worrying so much about what other people will think of what you're doing. Because a lot of the time when we worry about what other people are thinking of us, that is what stops us from taking action towards what we actually want. So I would 1,000% I would recommend this book if you want to read it. I'll add it to the description after this video, after this live. But oh my god, it's just changed my perspective on how I even view people around me. Like, just, it talks about how you will always feel that you're in competition with other people and feel inferior to other people when you view them as your enemies and as someone to kind of go above or stay below. You will not, like, that way of thinking kind of keeps you stuck in a place where you feel that you're below someone, so you can't achieve something, or you're above someone, which is kind of like, he talks about it in the book of it being a superiority complex of feeling that you have to be better than someone else, but that comes from a place of feeling inferior to that person. And when you start viewing people around you, your friends, your family, strangers, as friends, as what he calls comrades, you start to view the world differently, and you start to just go into the world and exploring things from a different perspective, instead of seeing everyone as an enemy or seeing them as competition. Because when you view someone as competition, you're just constantly in fight or flight, and you're just like in survival mode, which I will make another video about. But when you are just constantly in survival mode, trying to up another person or feel like you're below another person, you're not really going to get anywhere. And you're going to feel so, you're going to feel such a strong sense of low self-worth, is what I want to say. You're not going to feel content in your life if you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, and you're constantly seeing everyone else as your enemy, that you have to one up another person or become better than another person in a specific thing. The only person you have to compare yourself to is you. That is it. And I used to hear this all the time, and it's so cliche, but a lot of the cliches are cliches because they are true. They are around, they've been around for that long because they are true. They have so much truth to them. So I don't even know if I went over all the points, but I feel like I have so many notes here. I'm pretty sure I went through most of them, but let me check to make sure that I went through everything. I feel like I did. Oh, I think, okay, so one more thing that I want to add is, actually two, is finding a way to contribute to other people, whether it's in your family or in your community or online. And I feel that this just helped me feel a lot more content, and he talks about this in the book as well, the courage to be disliked, contributing to the people around you, not in a self-sacrificing way, which he also discusses in the book, but in a way that just makes you feel fulfilled and happy to be a part of a bigger community, to feel that you're contributing to something, to the society around you. And one example of this for me that I did after traveling back, you guys know I'm from Egypt, and after traveling back to Egypt, after being here for, I don't know, I think 11, 12 years, I hadn't gone there since I was 10, and going back there and seeing the lives of people who had, they had so little, but they were so happy, and they just didn't seem so stressed, even though their lives weren't that extravagant, or they didn't have even some basic necessities, but they still made the best of it. And I feel that they were so happy because everyone felt that they were contributing to their community. Everyone felt that they were contributing. Like, the life there is so interconnected. Like, people are contributing to each other. the neighbors make food for each other. Like different members of the family are doing things in the household together. Like everybody has a responsibility, so everybody feels like they are contributing something. And even after seeing that and seeing how happy they were, I didn't even feel like there was anything that I could offer. But at the same time, it's like I wanted to offer something, because that is my home country, and I just wanted to give back in some way while I'm here. And one way that I got inspired to do this is I just went online. I was like, okay, like I can't really contribute directly because I'm not physically there. So what else can I do? And so I went online, looked up organizations. Maybe like I looked up certain ones that were helping women and children, because my mom was a single woman raising us when she came here. And so I just wanted to do something that really spoke to me. And I just looked up organizations and I found one that really spoke to me. I messaged the person and he got back to me right away. And it was this person who was actually living in the US who had started this organization helping women and children, mostly children, back home in Egypt, learn about sexual abuse, sexual assault, and just defending yourself from sexual violence in general, which is really common probably everywhere at this point, but also in Egypt. So he was educating them on that, and even educating the parents on that, which is not talked about at all in the Middle East. So I found that and I started to think, like, I sent him my resume. I was like, I don't really know how I can even contribute. I don't even know how I can help because I'm not physically there. Like, I can't teach a class. I can't give language lessons. I'm not really there, and they don't have the technology to do like Zoom. So I was like, okay, you know what? I've worked on my business. I've created websites. I've designed. I've used Canva. Like I'm really good at design, and I actually enjoy it a lot. And so I mentioned that in my resume when I was speaking to him, and he was like, okay, well, you can help me design my website. You can help me, not even design, he already had a website, but just help me work on my website, adding new pages, writing blogs, things like that. And so I felt that I was contributing something amazing to, even though it was so small, I felt that I was contributing in some way to a cause that really spoke to my heart. And I would 1000% recommend that you look into something. Maybe it's something that has affected you in your past that you want to contribute to. Or even just within your family, like contributing through, if you're good at cooking, cook a meal for everybody, or cleaning the dishes so maybe the house looks neat and clean and everybody feels happy in their environment. It doesn't have to be always in a big way. It can be in such small little actions that you contribute to your community, to your family, to your friends. That really just creates a really strong sense of self-worth and happiness. And he talks about this in the book, and I will link it afterwards because I'm just obsessed with that book now and everything that I talked about. And the other last point that I wanted to make is to start dressing up and taking care of yourself daily. Just start dressing up. This is one thing that has really, really helped me build up my confidence and just feel happy every day, because I was showing up differently from the way I was dressing up and getting ready. So what I used to do before is if I was going out, I wouldn't even call it dress up. I would just say like I just wore whatever, and I was just like, oh, like I'm gonna put on jeans and whatever, and like I didn't really think too much about it. I just put on whatever felt like, it was like, oh, like I'm just gonna wear sweatpants or whatever. And I didn't really think too much about what I was putting on and how it was impacting me in how I was showing up every day. But changing the way that I dressed up, changing the way that I get ready every single day, feeling good from the outside in and the inside out has helped me show up with more confidence, show up differently when I'm interacting with people, when I'm interacting with family members, when I'm interacting with people in, even here, showing up on YouTube. If I showed up here in sweatpants and I just literally like wore like a t-shirt, I would not feel confident to speak in the same way. And if I didn't feel confident speaking in this way, I don't know that I would continue showing up every single day. And so just one small action of dressing up every single day, taking the time to show yourself that you are worth this time, you are worth the energy of that you put into yourself by dressing up and feeling confident, feeling good. And dressing up doesn't have to look a certain way. It's whatever feels good for you, whatever you feel good in. That is what that means to me. But just doing that changes so much in how you show up and how you contribute to the people around you when you feel good in your own skin. And that was my last point. I hope I'm pretty sure I've went through all of them, but that is everything that I have. And I'm going to actually create a video about how to stop feeling burned out and heal out of survival mode, because I feel like a lot of the time when we're in our heads so much and we're so worried about the how and thinking such big picture that we're not able to be present in the moment and be content, is because we are in survival mode and we are in our masculine, in our head, and we're not taking the time to be in our body, in our feminine. And so I'm going to create a video about this for the next one. And yeah, that is everything for today. I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions or you have any comments, or actually questions about the feeling burned out video, so that way I can answer them in there as well. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!